Starliner Media. Starliner Media presents Music Night at the Majestic with your host, Michael Boswell.
All right, time once again for Music Night at the Majestic, and with us tonight, Pat DeSalvo of Savoy Brown. Pat, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Hey, it's good to talk to you. The new album is out, Blues All Around, and you joined. Now the band Kim formed the band in what, 65? Then you
65.
joined in 09, and you
Mhm.
and Garnett were the two most tenured members of the band.
Yes. But it goes a little farther than that, to be honest with you. We started recording with them in either 99 or 2000. We did an acoustic record. I play upright bass. And I first met Kim in 1988. He had come out to a show I was doing. He was at the end of the bar, and I said, "What the hell's he doing here?" And I went over to him and introduced myself. And we had a very good conversation, and we had become friends prior to that. And prior to being in Savoy Brown, I had done 5 records with him. And so we had a very good relationship. He would come over to my house. We would talk about stuff. What I'm getting at is the reason I probably was lasted so long in the band is me and Garnett have a very good work ethic. And we like to rehearse, and we like to do things what we consider the right way. And then there was that relationship that me and Kim had already had, working on his solo records, him engineering some projects, me and him playing on a band I had called the Backsliders. So we had developed a very good relationship before I had actually gotten the band. He knew me as a person. We got along very well. He really liked Garnett. Garnett's just a wonderful person. And that's why we lasted so long, to be honest with you. There's no drama with us. We come in, we do our job, and we really worked hard at making the band, move the band up a level. That was our goal, is to get the band to where to the best level it could be.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, to digress, Pat. Yeah, were you a Savoy Brown fan for years?
Big time. I was into 10 Years After, Humble Pie. Now I'm going to be 68. So I got into music, started playing. I think I was 12 years old. My cousin taught guitar. And my parents, because I got ADD or whatever the hell it is, ADHD, they were trying to get me, back then nobody knew what it was. He's uncontrollable and he's always doing something and we can't, So they said maybe this will help him focus. So I started playing guitar and I got fond memories because I never thought about this until people started interviewing me about it. But I used to go to this place, Stagnita Music, on the north side, which is the Italian part of town. And I would go for my lesson there. And the guy sold Dan Electro and choral guitars. It was an interesting place. That's all I could say. And my uncle had, he would teach me, and he'd always tell me, "Patrick, calm down, slow down." And I was like, all over the place. I'm surprised I wasn't in a speed metal band, to be honest with you. But it was a great. My parents were really good. I remember my dad came home. And I remember him in the basement listening to one of the Zeppelin albums, probably the first record. My dad came in and he goes, "Look at me." He goes, "Listen to this." He goes, "You got to learn how to write songs and sing." It was White Room by Cream. This is my dad, So, which I thought was, looking back at it, I was going like, why didn't I listen to this guy at all? But, nobody ever listens to her dad. But my father never played anything, but he was into the big band thing, the Henry Mancini thing. I remember I remember this so well now. He had a red vinyl record of Peter Gunn. Wow. And he would just play that on 10. you know. So I've been very lucky. I had a very good family, very understanding, and they really liked that I pursued the music thing.
What was the first album that you bought?
Uh, Ironically, it was Animal Tracks. Uh, and I had done a show several years back. This was a cool show. George Thorogood was there one night, and then it was the Animals, Savoy Brown, and Steppenwolf.
Oh, wow.
I know, that was great. John Kay, I've seen John Kay a few times. He's just really good. So somehow I wound up in a room with Eric Burton, and I got to talk to him, So
Oh, wow.
it was just me and him. And then I go, because he doesn't know who the hell I am. He's probably wondering, what's this kid doing in our dressing room, And I go, my first record I bought was Animal Tracks, I think at the Family Bargain Center. He goes, oh, I'll autograph it for you. And I go, well, to be honest with you, I'm playing on the show. That's why I'm here. And he goes, well, who are you with Kim Simmonds? Now, Kim, Brian Auger, Tim Bogart, and I can't think of the guy's name, but he was the drummer for Sly and the Family Stone. They put all those guys together to do a super group. But you could tell you got 4 A personalities, from what I understand. It didn't happen. So too bad. I would have liked to. That would have been a great band, I think.
Yeah, if nothing else would have been pretty interesting.
Yeah, that would have been. We did a show, I remember, a couple of years back in Germany. I think it was Castle, or I can't remember. And Brian Auger, I didn't even know he was still playing. He was going to be there like the next night. I was always a fan of his.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it was interesting. So I'm talking to Eric Burton. He was really nice. He was just the coolest guy. And then I went out and saw a show, and we had just done our show, and I went out and saw a show, and he did a great show. I mean, he still got it. He was really he was one of those guys. Those bands, the Yardbirds, John Mayall, they really influenced my playing. I didn't realize it. Another guy, Yormar Coconut, I'm probably saying his name wrong all the time, from Hot Tuna. He was another guy. I listened to him and Jack Cassidy. But I listened to like King Crimson, Gentle Giant. I listened to a lot of stuff. And then I really got into the jazz blues thing. And I'm not that good of a player, right? Where I'm a jazz player, but I play upright functionally, So I brought a lot to the table. What I'm getting back to, I brought a lot to the table for Kim, where we could do different stuff. And at one point, we were doing an acoustic guitar he would bring on the road, and I'd bring my electric upright, and we would do a bunch of Savoy Brown songs acoustically, which I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Garnett, ironically, in 2009, it had to be, we did a show with Pat Travers, and Kim opened him up. If it was going to be just Kim solo, and Kim decided to bring me and Garnett in because we had done some stuff with him. So we did this acoustic set before Pat Travers. And that show was so funny. For some reason, they had these people around with some type of device. You could only play so many dB. And they were telling the band alone. It's like, it's like, what are you doing here? I thought it was there's these things I never think about this stuff, because you're in the moment, it just happens, and then it's the next day there's another episode in your life. But I started thinking, since I've been doing these interviews, because Kim can't,
right?
I've been thinking about this stuff, and it cracks me up. Sometimes I sit there. Sometimes I'll be in bed at night and I'll start laughing to myself. I'm going like, oh my God. That really happened, There'll be just these things that'll come to you. It's like, it's great. I've been very lucky. I'm not that good. I'm functional. That's what I like to go back to. But I put myself in situations where I've been able to really grow and do some really cool things musically.
Yeah. Well, tell me this, Pat. What's some of the things that you've gotten a good chuckle out of, thinking back on them, different shows or things that happened or what have you?
Well, the one I've been telling everybody is, this is a great one, I think. And we're playing, and we're over in Europe, And Kim's telling the audience how he loves German food, loves the German people, German woman. He's going on and on and on. And I'm like, and now that some of the audience, they can actually speak English, they're understanding what he's saying. And I go behind him, and I know there's got to be a YouTube video of this out. I got to search it sometime. And I go, Kim, we're in Belgium. We're not even in the wrong city, dude. You're in a wrong country. So he goes immediately into a song, and then later on, I remember it was the Spirit of '66 in Paris, Belgium, and we go down to the dressing room, and he goes, "You got to tell me what country we're in." Go, really? Okay. Kim was. I'm telling you, I know he's gone through a lot of guys, a lot of players, and stuff like that. But I really only had a few instances where it was kind of weird. A band's like a dysfunctional family. You got the father, and you got a bunch of kids. Okay, that's what it seriously boils down to. Hopefully, the father has got his shit together. You know what I mean? Where he's not, God knows where. And I've had great moments with this guy, and he just would crack me up sometimes. The stuff he would do, and he was just, I don't know. He was just a character. I really do miss him. I miss my texts in the morning, and I miss my phone calls with him. I miss having coffee with him. Kind of sad.
Yeah. Well,
I knew him for like 34, 35 years. It wasn't like I just got in the band and it was some guy from Michigan or Iowa or wherever, and I was in the band that day. You know what I mean? And one of the reasons why he went through a lot of guys was because I was talking about it. He go through a lot of guys. He goes, I got to keep the band on the road. This is what I do. And, you get a guy and all of a sudden you realize, and not being disparaging to any of the guys that have ever been in the band, but they just don't work out. You got to be like a team, like a football team, you know what I mean? Or a basketball team. Everybody, I know it's great. It's a lot of fun and you get drunk and you're doing this and you're doing that. But really what it comes down to is people pay to see you and you should do a good show for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You really do owe the fans a good show every night. You can't just be dialing it in. You got to really. Have you seen the band? Did you get to see the band at all? You're from Chicago area, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I did not get to see you guys live.
Yeah. If you saw the band, we really did a good show. I mean, we're all older, but I mean, it was when we got through with the show, we were all tired, and we did the best show we could every night. And I don't think there's ever a night that any of us walked on stage, and this isn't a stretch, where we didn't go like, we're going to do a great show tonight. We didn't have like a huddle or anything like that. We just knew we got to play a great show. And he was really, I remember one time he goes, if I didn't have the fans I had, he goes, I don't know what I'd be doing. He goes, I don't know what I'd be doing for a living. And he just really respected the people that came out to see him. I think he would have had a better career if he was a little bit more boastful. I don't know what the word is. Maybe if he had a good publicist for all the years, which he didn't have. Because, not because I play with the guy, but you can listen to his records. You listen to, what did he do? 40, I don't even know how many records he did.
40 something. Right around 40.
Yeah, 40 or 42 records. But plus his acoustic, his solo stuff. Mm-hmm. When you think putting out that much stuff, that much material, he was always, and I'll get back to this in a minute, but he was always trying to put out a good record, and he would really vet the record, vet the songs. We would rehearse. We would do it in every key possible, every type of groove, every tempo. Garnett was always great. He would always have his metronome with him, and we would just like figure it out. And then we would do sound check, and we would play a lot of stuff on sound check. That was our thing. Sound check was like, a practice for us, and we would sometimes we do extended sound checks. Sometimes, depending on how beat we were, we would just do the sound check, but we try to really, we're always working. We do room rehearsals. We always were working on getting the band to sound really good. And he really wished he had a singer a lot of times, but I remember we'd be in the studio and he goes, oh my God, I wish we had a singer. I wish I could find somebody who was really good that could tell these stories. But the thing was, I thought he was the best storyteller. And when you look at someone like Leo Cohen, Leonard Cohen, I mean, Bob Dylan, I love Springsteen, but you know, they're not that they're not the best singers, but they're Mark Knopfler. They're good storytellers, and they say something. They convey their words the best, you know.
Right.
And it's tough. What is a good singer? You know, it's like you got guys like Steve Perry that can sing all over the place, or Lou Graham, but who are both phenomenal. But it's like sometimes somebody can just tell a story really good, and that's what music it is. That's what we're doing. It's like a story, a poem, however you want to put it, with music behind it. That's what we do.
Yep.
You know.
Well, that's why so many singers have made that successful transition to acting.
Yeah. It's the same thing. Especially for friggin' singers, they're the drama queens of our business. You know, they're like got the sunglasses on, and you know the chicks, and they're the cool ones. But yeah, but the focal point's always on them. You know, you try not to be phony though either with your gig. You know, when you're playing, you know, you don't want to. You know, like we never had dance moves in Savoy Brown. That's all I can tell you. You know, all I do was not on the side going, okay, no. But you know, which is nothing wrong with that either. But we're just remember Kim said we're just like a raw bar band, a blues rock raw bar band, and we come out and we just play. There's not a lot of lights. There's not a lot of you know, whatever.
It's about the music, not the flash.
It is. I remember one time again, we're in, there was all those shootings going on in Europe, and I forgot what happened somewhere where there was, you know, a bad terrorist attack, and we were playing in Munich. And I remember the guy, and I told him, I said, I know you like to do the damn smoke machine, which we hate. Don't do anything, because, you know, it could be conceived the wrong way. And I remember that whole tour, me and Garnett literally would find an entrance we could leave in case something happened, because we didn't know what was going on. A lot of bands had canceled their tours that year too, because remember there was a shooting. The guys in what band was it?
The
Eagles from, which is really my cousin produces their records. I can't think of Eagles from whatever they are.
Right.
But it's really Queens of the Stone Age guys. So a lot of bands canceled their tours, I remember. And maybe that's why our shows are so well attended. But a lot of bands cancel their tours, and Kim goes, we're not going to cancel. And I go, I don't want to cancel either, because then they win, you know? Yeah, it's like, This is what we do. And a freaking guy, all of a sudden, like a bomb type thing goes off on a flash in one of our songs, and the room's full of smoke. I went for the door and I grabbed Garnett and I says, get Kim. I go, we're going. Because it was like, you don't know what's happening, you know. It could happen, you know. It's like, it was like, that was another weird thing. There was, you know, when you're traveling in other countries, you really got to watch what you do and where you go, because not everybody loves us, you know. So that's something you always have in the back of your head, you know. Not that anything usually happens, but it did happen. You know, so that's something to consider, I guess. You know, when you're traveling, like, it is weird. I remember when in South America, we had bodyguards, like with bulletproof vests on and guns, and they're talking to us. You can't go here. You can't do this. Blah blah blah. And I go, "Where's my bulletproof vest?" And they go, "Oh, they'll want you alive." And I go, like, because they would ransom you off. And I said, "You don't understand. There's no money here. I'll take the bulletproof vest. If you want to give me the gun, we'll take the gun too at that point." But nothing happened on it. Actually, the first night on that tour, I was told, don't leave. You can't go anywhere. And of course, I went out. I got caught going out. And what happened, I walked up the street and I see a girl. Then I see another girl. There's nobody else on the street now. You got to remember this. I see another woman. I go, oh shit. I know. Right. I turn around. I'm walking back, and there's these guys like this, and they grab me and they go, "We told you not to leave and to stay in the hotel." And I was like, well, I just want to. Whenever I go to another country, I really want to see what's going on with the locals.
Right.
I always would keep a card of the hotel I'm with. Me and Garnett always did that. Garnett especially. Keep a card where we are, and then try to remember where you don't go too far, and try to remember where you are just to see what's going on. You maybe pop into a bakery or get a cup of coffee. You want to experience where you're at a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you want to take in the local flavor.
Well, definitely. I always was good for that. That's
instead of one hotel room similar to the next.
Oh my God, I hate. One time I said, if I never see another hotel room or get on a plane, I am good with all this. But I am missing it now. But no, you go to places, and I just want to take in a little bit of, like you said, because I never get the chance to go to Tokyo or go to Rio or Paris or London. I mean, I'm not a person of means like that. So when I got to do this stuff, it was like, I went to India. That was another weird place. Weird in that it's just different. It's so different, I love Indian food too. So I got a lot of good Indian food.
Tell me this, Pat. Yeah, going from all these different countries, was there certain songs that were had like a big following in one country and not much in the next?
Yeah, I think in our contract it said we had to play "Time Does Tell" when we're in Brazil. I think that was the song. But yeah, normally nobody usually said anything. But Kim had such a large catalog, especially of the classic band, the beginning band, all the songs they had. We would try in the set list. We would try to do the older classic stuff that people wanted to hear, like the Hellbound Train, Tell Mama, Street Corner Talking, or Poor Girl, that type of. But some people enter the group at a different phase, and that becomes their song. Why don't you do this? Well, when you got 42 albums, it's kind of. And then the whole other thing is, we got a new record out. We really want to play a couple songs from that record, or some of the records some of the songs we like to do from the other last bunch of records we did.
Right.
So it was very easy to fill a half-hour, 2-hour show with Kim. It's like, it was easy.
But when you got over 400 songs
Yeah.
to choose from, and it's hard to whittle that list down to 30 minutes worth of music.
And people sometimes people would get upset. They would be, why didn't you do this? And we had a meet and greet. Well, you go, well, there's this many albums, this many songs on the records. And then Kim was really picky on what he would do, because if he couldn't sing it proper, what he would consider properly, he goes, I don't want to do it. There were some songs he had to do, but he was going like, there's some songs I can't really do it justice. I don't want to do it. And we would rehearse them and change the key. We'd go through that whole thing, but sometimes it just didn't come across the right way. So he, it was his band, whatever he wanted to do, I was good with, he was fronting the band. So you want to make the singer comfortable,
Right. Exactly. Well, with this album, Blues All Around, that was the first time that you guys didn't go into the studio, the three of you together, and do it as a live take on it. So when you are now playing against the tracks that Kim laid down, what challenge did that create for you and Garnett?
A lot. Garnett was going, is this going to work? And I go, we'll make it work, Garnett. Me and Garnett had played years prior. We had worked with Kim prior. And I got to be honest with you, I hadn't seen those guys in almost a year, at least 9 or 10 months. So we hadn't practiced, we hadn't done anything. I flew up to New York on a Sunday, hung out at Garnett's, and we went to the studio Monday morning. We did, I believe, 14 tracks in 6 hours of actual recording time. Wow. And the reason why, once again, not that anybody's phenomenal, but we had a thing we did. It was a natural thing. And I thought it was kind of great because here we are. We didn't practice. We would occasionally talk about the song. Kim would have this really bad drum machine he had, and that would be the part where sometimes I told him, please don't send me that track with the drum machine because it takes away. I'm trying to think what I can do with this, it's just one.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a blueprint on all his records, and he would sometimes have a bass line he would want me to try. And if it worked, I would just go, yeah, that works. But if it didn't, I would say, here, I want to do this. This is what I feel. And he always went with it with us. He was really good about that. But I was kind of, I gotta be honest, it was kind of like some people might listen to the record and go, it's kind of sophomoric, it's blah, blah, blah. When you're a bass player and a drummer in a band like this isn't Emerson, Lake and Palmer or Yes. This is a blues rock band. This is like the Blasters. This is like Chuck Berry. This is like Sonny Boy or Muddy Boy. It's a blues rock thing happening, okay? So you play for the song. You don't have to play real fast or do a lot of notes. You play for the song. And whatever makes the song sound good. So you really gotta listen. And sometimes less is always best in this form of music, but sometimes space can be deafening. You know what I mean? So when you're playing, you really got to listen to the vocal, what the vocal's saying. Got to listen to what the guitar is saying, because those are the two main components. And then the drum and the bass are just the foundation. So lay a good foundation. And Garnett's got a great sense of tempo. He doesn't need a click track. We have used click tracks in the past. Now this record definitely used a click track because it was a drum machine. And I had to cop some parts to fit Kim's playing or Kim's lines. So there was some things I had to do. And he was really happy the way we did it. But it was kind of effortless, I got to be honest with you. But it was nothing we ever did before, but it was kind of fun to do it. And the first day we were in the studio, I got to tell you, Kim was at the Roswell Cancer Institute in Buffalo. Came in the next day. I go, listen to everything. Tell us what you think. And he was good with everything. There was one song, though, California Days. We should have put it on the record what he had come up with. It was like doom, 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 doom. And I remember he goes, we really got to get this on the record. He goes, and he got tired through that day. He had played some organ parts and some stuff, but the chemo really was wearing him out. So he left, and I remember the engineer and this other guy was there. He goes, you guys got to do something with this song to make it work. So we did. Now, some people might listen to it and go, whatever. But that's what we did. So I just started playing lines and stuff like that. And I said, let's just jam. And I go, keep playing the track. And we came up with a thing, because I was thinking what the band sounded like in that era too. And we came up with a groove, and it worked on the record. I thought it worked really good. Of course, I thought it worked good because we came up with it. So,
yeah, well, that track does have a nice groove, though.
Chords and goes, that sounds terrible, and puts it out. You know what I mean? I think everybody goes, it sounds great. Of course, it sounds great. That's your idea.
Yeah.
But it definitely worked. It was fun. And the next day, Kim didn't realize it. He goes, oh wow. He goes, that was really good. He goes, that was great and everything. I go, that wasn't the take we did though. And he goes, it wasn't? I go, no. We completely changed it. He goes, well, great. It sounds good. I go, okay. Do you want to hear the other track? He goes, no, I don't think I do. No, I go, I think you should hear the track just for a minute. And so just busting his chops a little bit. I do, but once again, I do miss him as a friend because I'm with you stuff occasionally. And he was always good. He was always talking to me and always helping me with stuff. I know me and Garnett definitely had a different relationship probably than any other member he's had in the band than maybe Roger Earl and Dave Peverett. From what he would tell us. So not that he didn't like these guys, but we're all certain people, and some people, you know how you click with. I got friends I grew up with that I still hang out with or talk to and stuff, from when I was 12 years old. There's some people that just come to your life and they're part of your life, And it's tough though being in a band when you're the band leader, because you gotta sort of be the dad. You know what I mean?
Right.
You gotta sort of like set some rules up sometimes, and nobody wants to do that shit. They just go play and make it happen. You know, don't be a pain in
Yeah.
the ass to everybody else. You know.
Well, it's hard to be the authoritarian and the fun guy.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's next to impossible. You know,
Right. I
it
mean,
really
that's
is.
two completely divergent
Yeah,
ways
it
of
is.
thinking. So,
I had bands. I had a band. It was a road band I had, and it was just getting out of hand with the guys. And I said, "Okay." I go, "We can't drink on the gig." What do you mean? I said, "I go. People are paying us good money, and believe me, I want to have a good time, but I can't. We can't keep doing this, guys, because we're not sounding good. And when I get paid at the end of the night, I'm hearing about it. So I'm going to fine you if you have a drink." I mean, it was like, I think about it now and I go, like, I can't believe it was like that, but especially me, I'm going like, well, but I had it, it was like, when you get paid at the end of the night and the guys complain to you, you know, you got to put it in perspective.
right. Yeah.
Believe it or
Because if,
not, it was work, and I had bands like a road band, like sometimes we do 30 something days straight or whatever. I forgot what we used to do. And, it was a job, it became, it was a job. It was fun. It was a fun job, but it's a job at that point.
well, if the people paying the bills aren't happy,
Yeah,
then there's no pay.
exactly.
So,
That's what I kept telling everybody, you know, but,
yeah.
and I'm still friends with the drummer. Me and the drummer, like, went to high school with this guy, and we're still, my buddy Mike Redman. I just talked to him this week, actually.
Yeah,
He's
that's
getting
good.
ready. Yeah.
I'll tell you, talk about tracks on the new album, uh, Gypsy Healer. You had a nice loping bass line on that track
Mhm.
that offsets the heavy riff that
Right.
Kim has on that track. Tell
I
us
didn't
about
need
that
to.
song.
I didn't need to play anymore. I mean, he was like carrying the song, and you know, you're once again, you're the foundation. You know what I mean? And the thing is to keep a groove, make it hypnotic, especially for something like that. And like, he's talking, obviously, he's thinking about his health at that point, I would think. And I want to read into anything, and that's one thing I didn't really, when we were in the studio, I didn't want to talk about lyrics. I listened to everything, and I knew where he was coming from. I think it's so cool how he started the record by himself and ended it by himself, which is so appropriate. Because I told him, I go, "Do you want me to play upright bass on that?" And I'm not thinking. I'm just listening to the stuff first time. I give him a call. I go, "Kim." He goes, "No, I don't want you playing it at all." I go, "Okay." And then I started listening to it, and I'm going like, and then once I heard the record, I said, "Oh, okay, this all makes sense now."
Yeah. I
So
mean,
he was,
that was the perfect way to close the record.
yeah, perfect way to open it and close his career. It was always him. He was the guy the whole time. I mean, it was like, yeah, I'm honored to play and work with the guy. But yeah, it was him. But yeah, I'm glad you caught that. Some people have been telling me about this and that. One guy was really cool. He was definitely had to be a musician. I said, "You got to be a guitar player." He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "First song I learned from a guitar teacher was Pearl Girl." I go, "Okay." And he goes, "Where's the turnaround Kim was talking about?" I forgot what song it was. And I go, "There is no turnaround." He goes, "Yeah, what's he talking about?" I go, "Forget, I don't know." I don't know. So he used to tell me sometimes, "I can never figure you out." I was like, "Well, that goes the same for me to you." But
And that's why you got along.
yeah, definitely. Well, we had it. Believe me, there's moments sometimes that you want to put under the carpet or put behind you, but there's sometimes there's discussions that you don't want to have, but you got to have them sometimes. Sometimes you need that. You know,
Hmm.
you need
Yeah.
it can't be a touch. What's that thing? A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. Or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm thinking everything isn't perfect at all. It's not Leave It to Cleaver or whatever. The beat, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Life. You take the bitter with the sweet type of thing. That's the better
Life is
analogy.
messy.
Yeah, life can be very messy. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Tell me this, Pat, when you guys were laying down the tracks,
Uh-huh.
was there one of those a song on the album that you and Garnett just really got into?
I got to be honest with you. I think all of them, because we knew, I said this before in a couple of interviews I did. We knew this was it. You know what I mean? So I think we once again brought our A game to every song and try to make every song as best as we could. That's why Garnett was a little, he was going, I hope this works. I want this to work. And, because we've never done this before. But no, we, every song, there was nothing. I think a couple tracks didn't make it, mainly because of the stories. That was my whole thing with Kim. He would send me a demo, and I go, the story's not that good. Maybe use the music on another song, but it all comes down to a story.
Right.
And you got to have a good story. You got to have a good story. Everything else is fluff around it. Once again, a good song, you should be able to either just sing it or play it on a guitar or play it on a piano, and it should have that effect. Everything else, strings or congas, whatever the hell they're doing, the groove. If a song's, it's got a great groove and everything, if you listen to it, we'll take out the drums. What is it now? You know what I mean? It's like, so.
I hear you.
It's like, it's you got to have a good story. You got to have a good, chorus where there's a hook people remember and all that. To a degree, there's a Blues Traveler song that something about the hook, and I didn't know this till I read about it. And what he was saying in the song was that the song was basically saying it's got to have a good hook. You know what I mean? Just go like, that's friggin' classic. That is brilliant. It really is.
Yep. You got to grab the listener.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Yeah, you got to bring him into it. You got to bring him in. It's like, and now it's, it's so hard. Yeah, I think there's 12 notes and everything's in 4/4 basically. I mean, how far can you go with that? We've gone pretty goddamn far with it. from Dixieland or big band stuff, how far you want to stretch it back to now. I mean, it's like, it's kind of incredible, really. The people still come up with something. You go, well, that's different. Really? This has been done before?
Well, in the beginning, there was one guy going, yeah, I just don't hear it. I mean, what are you going to do with 12 notes?
Right. We should use the Indian scale. We have I don't know how many notes they have over there. They got more notes than we do.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny. So what part of Chicago are you from?
I'm south of Chicago. So,
okay.
But
did you ever go to Fitzgerald's?
Oh yeah.
We used to play there all the time.
Yeah. And that's actually probably my favorite club in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's actually in Berwyn, just outside. But
does Billy still own that? Does he still own it?
You know what? I don't know.
He was trying to sell it.
Yeah, I don't know. But I used to love doing interviews backstage and what used to be the bedroom.
Oh, you love that backstage? There was a good Italian restaurant in the same building, though. That was great. That food was kicked ass all the time. It was good. Yeah, I liked that place. It wasn't big, but it was it was a good place. Dean Zielinski from Dean Guitars used to come out and see us there. He's a Chicago boy.
Yeah,
he's a good guy.
Well, the Fitzgerald's was, I guess, the Chicago version of the Floribama, where it's an old house that gets turned into a club, and you get that atmosphere where there's just something about it.
Yeah, I mean, they can hold quite a few people. We used to have a good turnout there. We get several hundred people every night, every time we played there. Almost, I was always happy playing there.
Yeah, and Bill always had such a great lineup of talent playing too.
Yeah.
So
really, I respect club owners that are in there for the music and really try to not look at it like, we're just making money off these guys, and understand it's a business, so they got to make money. They'll never begrudge a man for making a buck, But there's some club owners that are. There's this guy, Moondog, Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh, and he's one of those guys too. And there's a guy. Actually, did you ever go to Reggie's in Chicago?
Yes.
Yeah, Robbie, class guy. Love him
Mm-hmm.
as a person.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. There was a guy in Santa Cruz, Bill, and Bill used to be Fleetwood Mac's manager, I believe, and he opened up a place called Moe's Alley in Santa Cruz, and that was another cool place to play.
Yeah.
I like Santa Cruz. I like that whole part of California. How can you not?
Yeah. I'll tell you, the thing about Chicago is there's so many great clubs,
Mm-hmm.
and on any given night, no matter what type of music you've got a taste for, you can find it.
I know. We did a show one night in it was the Rib Fest in Napster.
Naperville?
Naperville. Napster. In Naperville. So we're playing that night, and it's Paul Rogers. But U2 was playing. The Dead were doing a show. And I forgot it was like another huge act. It wasn't the Dead, it was like Bill Weir and a whole bunch of those guys. Mo was playing right outside, but there was another huge act. I go, like, this is incredible. You can have this many acts in one night,
Mm-hmm.
That's a good festival. Is that still going?
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah,
Obviously, during pandemic times, I
Right.
don't think it was, but that's back now, I believe.
that's good. They
So,
were very good people too. I mean, yeah, they would get like Pat Benatar one night. They would
mhm.
get Paul Rogers or whatever. And they just brought in some great acts over there.
Yeah, there's actually a good number of towns in the Chicago metro area that do summer music festivals, and the talent that they bring in is very impressive.
We used to play the Arcata Theater. You know where that is in St. Charles?
Yeah, in St. Charles.
Yeah, those guys are real class guys, man. We did a bunch of
Mhm.
shows there with a couple with Foghat. I think maybe Wishbone Ash was it? We did a couple shows there. That's a really nice venue to play. They treat you great.
Nice
Everything.
facility. The sound is great.
The crew is phenomenal. Every time I play, they want to make the show good. I remember one time we were playing a place in Cleveland, and the sound guy was just being a nitwit. And he goes, I got a day gig. I just come here to do this for fun. I go, well, that's good, but people are paying to come in and see us, and we got to do a good show. He goes, I really don't care. Because I got to be honest with you. He goes, I'm just here. I make a few bucks and I leave. And I remember going over to the owner that night and I said, next time I play here, he can't be here. You got to get somebody competent. I go, we want a guy that's going to make us sound good. This guy was just like, he didn't care. And it was like, I thought that was such, it was just bullshit to me,
Mm-hmm.
You don't care. I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's a gig for somebody with passion for music.
Exactly.
Not somebody
I don't want
who's-
to name it. Well, the place is gone now. It was the West. Oh my God, Winchester Music Hall, I think. And they got everybody played there. It was one of the bands, once again, the Blasters or whatever. All the Americana, everybody played there. Steve Forward, whoever, those type of acts.
Mhm.
Then there was another place in Indiana that we got there, and the sound guy was drinking.
Oh, geez.
So I went over. He had those tiny little pictures. I said, okay, we're working together tonight, right? He goes, oh, yeah, we're working together. I go, okay. You can't be drinking. He goes, what do you mean? I said, after the show, I don't care what the hell you do. But during the show, we got once again, I couldn't stress this enough to certain people. We want to do a good show tonight. So he winds up getting kind of hammered. And the mix the place, I can't remember the place, but there was at least 500 or 600 people there, right? It's packed. We're having a good night. We're playing good, but the sound started getting weird. Garnett fucking puts his sticks down, runs out in the audience, and I just see Garnett like this to the guy. I thought, oh my God, he's going to beat him up. So, and remember that there was another one I had to go to the owner. Can't have that guy here. I'm sorry. We just want someone that's. I go, people are paying to see us play. They're taking the time not only to come to the show, but they're paying. So you gotta do a good job for these people. Believe me, I want to have a good time too. I like having a good
Right.
time, but there's a time and place for everything, you know.
Right. But the thing is yeah, a large majority of the people there are going to say, "Man, it's at the Savoy Brown show, and man, they sounded awful."
That,
Not, boy, you know what? The band was good, but the sound guy was awful.
yeah,
That's
no,
not what they
they look
say.
at the band. I have another place we play. Boy, I got stories. We're in Eugene, Oregon, and I remember talking to this guy. Whenever we would do a show, Debbie would advance the show, and then I would talk to the sound guy to make sure we're gonna. Because when we would travel, we would just go to a gig and fly in, and I'd have my bass, and that's it. I'm relying on him for an amp. Garnett's relying on him for a drum set, an amp for Kim. You know, we're just coming there. You know, we're in a car driving to the gig. I remember people used to go, "Where's your tour bus?" Well, I don't know what decade you saw the band in, but we don't have a tour bus. But I remember this guy, and I had this feeling. I said, "Oh my God, I don't think this guy's going to be a good sound guy." So we had the night off before, and we got there. We did a bunch of shows. We got there, and I went there, and they were having a band, and it was terrible, absolutely terrible. Mike, it was. So we had friends in town, and they go, "Listen, we'll bring our PA and we'll run sound." So I went to the guy, and I got the owner. I said, "Listen, we're going to come in with our own PA." "Oh no, we can't do that. He's contracted to do this." I go, "I got to have someone else run sound." He goes, "No, you don't understand." And I said, "I got to be honest with you. I'm not trying to be disparaging, but you're not a sound guy. You're anything but, okay?" And I go, "We're coming here to play, and I can't have this." We go on stage, all of a sudden, most of the night, that's what happened. Finally, we left the stage. Now, in the audience, because what you're saying, the audience doesn't know. That night, they sort of knew. So this went on, and I got really upset. And Kim goes, "I can't play anymore." And he got on the mic. He goes, "I'm sorry, I can't play anymore till they get the sound better." So we go in the dressing room, and the guy comes over, and he goes, "What are you doing?" And while we're in the dressing room, seriously, through the PA. And I'm like, "What are we doing?" Because you got to go out there
Do
and
you
play.
not hear that?
I go, "Can you please?" He won't let me help him. Not that I would know how to run the sound anyway. He won't take any direction. I go, and then the guy comes in. He goes, "I don't know what's wrong." I go, "Are you not hearing that?" I mean, it's like, it was ridiculous. I wound up chasing the club. I'm never going to play that club again. So I wound up chasing the club owner through the club, yelling at him. I'm not going to tell you what I was saying. Then I'm going, "Well, we're not going to get paid for tonight, probably." Not only did he pay me, but he gave me the points we made. But he goes, "You'll never play her again." I said, "Who would want to?" I had to go out and apologize to people because people are going, "Can you just like do something and play? Can they turn the PA off and you play?" We did almost the whole set though, you know. But I was going like, well, it doesn't make any sense to do that at this point. And like Kim was like furious. He was so upset about the whole thing. But things like that happen when you're on the road. It's like it's a crapshoot. Then you get into some places and it's like the Iridium in New York City or the Triple Door out in Seattle. I mean, where it's just like they just got their game going, man. You sound great. You know, you can actually take that recording from that night and make a CD out of it if you wanted to. But it is interesting being on the road and you run into these people. It's like, you know, but you're in the music business, you know, so it's not like banking.
Exactly. You're not going to make the donuts.
It's like it's like you're dealing with dysfunctional people, you know, and hopefully you're not the dysfunctional one, you know. That night, you know, I can't say that through my career, I was not the dysfunctional one. There was a nice boy. I would take it back, but anyway, Mike.
I'll tell you, Pat, since we've hit on a few of the nights where things went wrong, what's one of the most memorable shows for you where everything just clicked?
There's a ton of them. There was one. We did the Ottawa Blues Fest, and Kanye West was the headliner that night, and Chance the Rapper. That was a great show up in Ottawa. And there was another one at the Kitchener Music Fest. There was just, one of those nights I'll always you just remember those nights. Almost any night of the Iridium, I always thought went great. There was a show at the Surf Ballroom in Clearwater. You familiar with that? That's
I've been there.
You bet. Okay, yeah. What a incredible place that is.
Yeah, I'm
It's
a
just
huge Buddy Holly fanatic,
well,
so
then
I had to make my pilgrimage.
you got
And-
it. It's a museum. It's like
absolutely.
and the place is beautiful.
Oh.
I mean, they'll have Slash one night, the Glenn Miller Band the next night. Then they'll have like someone like Kenny G. Then they'll have us. It was like it's in the middle of friggin' nowhere. It's Clear Lake, Iowa, I believe.
Yeah.
Right.
And well, I was there, and I caught a few years back Brian Setzer and George Thorogood. We're touring together, and I thought
that's a great night.
Seeing Setzer would have been a big Buddy Holly fan that he is. I thought this is going to be, if I'm going to go, this is the show to see there.
He is friggin' amazing, and look what he did. He brought rockabilly into vogue, and then he does a big band, and the guy's phenomenal, amazing friggin' guitar player. And Thorogood, how can you not love George Thorogood? He's a friggin' character.
Yes, he is.
He's he really is a cool guy. I really did. I had a chance to meet him. He came out to a show we did, and he came in our dressing room and he grabbed Kim's guitar and he started playing all these Savoy Brown songs. And he's the real deal. And he did that show in Mystic, someplace outside of some casino outside of. He was on that show with us with Eric Burton and Steppenwolf, and he's just a great show. He just does a really good show. I mean, I really can't. He's a good showman. He's a good player, and he's done it his way. I respect him a lot.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that struck me at that show at the Surf, show started scheduled started at 8:30. 8:15, all of a sudden the lights start dimming, and next thing you see is Setzer coming out on stage, and he just starts playing 15 minutes before it. The start time. It's like I've been to shows where they didn't start until 15 minutes after the set start time. I've never been to a show that started 15 minutes before. So that was interesting.
He played the full show, right?
Oh, he played the full show. He did his. Then he was there with his the 3-piece combo. Yeah, him and 2 other guys. And
you had the big band with him?
What's that?
You didn't have the big band?
No. This was just a rockabilly thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've seen the big band a bunch of times, but at the Genesee and Paramount and a few other places around Chicago area. But this was was a rockabilly thing. And partway through, he gave the other 2 guys a break, and then he kept on playing. He played like another 5 songs or so. Then they came back out, and then they finished the rest of the set. So, they ended up doing, like, say, an extra 15 minutes beyond what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, he's good. I know he was that good. When you listen to Stray Cats records, he plays excellent, of course, on it. But then when you really hear him play, I mean, the guy, he's amazing. Absolutely amazing player.
Yep, I agree.
Sure.
Well, tell me, Pat, is there anything that we didn't touch on that you want to make sure that we do before we wrap this one up?
Well, I appreciate your time first. And Kim has artwork, trying to help Debbie any way we can, Kim's wife. So you can go to the Savoy Brown website, and Kim's got some paintings there. You can pick up the CD there. And, if someone's new and not familiar with the band, you could look at the history of the band and see people from, like Dave Walker was in Fleetwood Mac and Black Sabbath, and you had a guy from the Kinks, and you had a guy that was in Fleetwood Mac. You had all these guys that had played in the band. Bob Burney, I think, was the bass player. But you can see the history and all the people Kim had in the band. I think the bass player from Plasmatics was in the band. And somebody who played with John Luponte. I mean, it's kind of interesting who's come through the group. And, of course, Foghat,
Right.
everybody but Rod Price. So, but anyway, no, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate the support the fans have given us. And if someone isn't familiar with the band, check the band out and do what you got to do.
Yeah, well, today we've had the website and the social media scrolling across the bottom of the screen throughout
Good.
the show, so folks can go there and check everything out as you said.
Well, it was great. It was really good talking to you too. Thank you so much.
Oh,
I wish you got
likewise.
a chance to see the band.
I do too. It's one of those things to where, when you guys would be in town, I'd be out of town or whatever. So it just never worked out. But at least I've got the music I can listen to.
Good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll tell you what, on that note, everybody, we're going to bring this one to a close. Appreciate you watching. Pat, thanks for being here. Have a good night.
Be good. Peace, everybody. Bye.
This has been Music Night at the Majestic with Michael Boswell. If you enjoyed this edition of Music Night at the Majestic, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and at musicnight.net. Music Night at the Majestic is a copyright production of Starliner Media. Any use of the accounts and descriptions of this program, its audio or visual content, without the express written consent of Starliner Media is prohibited. Thank you for joining us this evening. We'll see you next time for Music Night at the Majestic. This is your announcer speaking. Starliner Media.